Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Shift with Gina, a podcast where we talk about building healthy, whole women in a broken society. Because if we want to change our very broken world that we live in today, we have to start with ourselves. You have to start with your body, your home, and your family. So I want to use my podcast more to talk about many of the experiences that I've had in the past, mistakes that I've made, mistakes that I never want to see younger women make. And also to really let women know that it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what stage of your life you're in. You can turn things around. I believe that anybody can turn their life around. And when we talk about women improving their lives so that they can build a whole healthy version of themselves, oftentimes the first thing that starts with is your health, your physical health. And then things just sort of blossom and grow from there. So you've heard me many times talk about the birth control pill, all forms of hormonal birth control really, and how it has been one of the most detrimental things that has ever offered to women in the name of empowerment and liberation. And I talked in a recent episode about my near-death experience with birth control, which was prescribed to me when I was 19 years old for painful periods. I almost lost my life due to a pulmonary embolism that was contracted from hormonal birth control. So if you want to go back and listen to that full episode, you can do that on my channel, listen or watch that full episode to hear the full story. But what I want to talk about today is how I healed from hormonal birth control and how I healed my menstrual cycle naturally to ensure that I never had to rely on synthetic hormones again. Because I think that this is a really big question a lot of women have as they're coming off of the pill or whatever form of hormonal birth control they're on. They ask the question, well, what can I do to heal from this? I don't know where to start. And even the question is, I'm afraid to give up hormonal birth control because my period is so painful, because there's so many things about my menstrual cycle that stop me from living my everyday life. According to the CDC, women between the ages of 15 and 49, out of all of those women who use contraception, about 14% choose birth control pills, which sounds almost a little bit low. I kind of think it's higher than that at this point, because I'm sure this data is from like 2019 or 2020. And beyond the role of preventing pregnancy, birth control pills are prescribed today for a range of supposed medical benefits, right? So many women are told that taking the pill is going to help them find relief from menstrual pain, heavy bleeding, irregular periods. Statistics show that about 58% of women who use the pill take it because they have menstrual issues. They have heavy bleeding. They have terrible cramps. They have irregular cycles. And so they're told that the pill is going to fix all of these things and that the pill will help manage things like endometriosis, PCOS, etc., and even things like acne. And so that further broadens the appeal of the pill. And that's why I started taking it. When I was 19, my doctor told me it would help with painful, irregular, miserable periods so that I could go to class in college and not have to worry about suffering from my period. So after I survived the pulmonary embolism and I was back on my feet, which took a little while, I was still a teenager at this point. I didn't really think so much about detoxing my body from hormonal birth control because I was so young and I was trying to just get back to my life because my life was so disrupted after that pulmonary embolism. Things changed so much. I missed out on so many things that year in college. And I gained a lot of weight from the medication that I had to take for a long time, the blood thinning medication that I was on for a while. It was just a really tough period. But once I did think about how am I going to heal my cycle naturally, how am I going to detox from hormonal birth control, it took a little while for my body to recover. And so I wish I had started earlier. So this is why I always say women who are on the pill or any form of hormonal birth control, start now. When you get off of it, start as soon as possible to detox from it and to heal your body, because there's a lot that needs to be done. And sometimes it can take years for the body to fully recover, detox, and reset from this group 1 carcinogen that is hormonal birth control. So when I finally embarked on this healing journey, this is where I started. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of all the things that I did to help heal my menstrual cycle and heal from hormonal birth control. And then after I go through this, I'm going to give you a list of things that I wish I had done and that I highly recommend women do today. So whenever I work with clients who are on a weight loss program or trying to improve their health in general, or they're coming off the pill, these are the things that I recommend for women who are coming off of hormonal birth control. Okay, so let's start with what I did. Let's start with the obvious: diet and movement. This is the starting point for a lot of people. When we're talking about changing diet to support healthy hormones, there is so much more to consider than eating clean. I have so many women come to me and say, I'm eating super healthy, but it's not working. I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm not getting my hormones balanced, and I'm not losing weight. And I asked them, I said, okay, tell me what you're doing and eating in a typical day. Then they tell me that they wake up, they have a coffee, they skip breakfast, and then they have another coffee. And then for lunch, they eat a gluten-free bagel and a salad. And then for dinner, they have a chicken casserole. And then they have a bunch of popcorn as a snack before bed. Hardly any protein or nutrient-dense foods, significantly lacking in the remineralization of the body, which is crucial after taking hormonal birth control. Just very nutrition lacking food. And sort of the common thing that I hear is women tend to almost starve themselves, or they try to skip meals because they think it's going to help them magically lose the weight or magically balance their hormones again. Balancing blood sugar is one of the most important things to do when you're trying to balance your hormones. If you have an imbalanced blood sugar, you're not going to have balanced hormones, which is one of the reasons why 3 square meals a day is really, really helpful for most women. Okay, unless there's some sort of medical issue like PCOS, or you're struggling with something like insulin resistance, this sort of severe intermittent fasting is not going to be very helpful. Yes, you should generally eat within a 12-hour window. Eat your meals between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. or 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. But there's no need to skip meals and fast for 18 to 20 hours a day in order to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. In fact, fasting 18 to 20 hours a day for extended periods of time, I've actually seen it hurts more women, and it hurts their hormones more than it does good. And that's what happened to me. I thought that all the intermittent fasting was going to help me reach my goals and heal from hormonal birth control and finally lose the weight. And it ended up worsening my hormonal issues, making me feel more stressed, making me feel more on edge. And so there was really something to eating 3 square meals a day and having portion control. That's a really, really important thing for women. So when I was healing from hormonal birth control, I prioritized nutrient-dense foods that are often vilified today, like grass-fed red meat, pasture-raised eggs, raw honey, raw dairy, homemade bone broth, organic fruits and vegetables, high-quality cheeses. I limited my consumption of processed grains, legumes, and I only ate small amounts of nuts. Now, this sort of concoction of a diet, or, a nutrition lifestyle that I put together, it was kind of a combination of a lot of different things. First of all, I found out what worked for me. For me, I feel better when I limit grains and legumes and I eat low amounts of nuts. That's just, I feel better in my gut. I feel better just metabolically. I just feel better. And one of the reasons why I chose all of these things is because there's much research supporting why things like grass-fed red meat and pasture-raised eggs and bone broth and raw honey, raw dairy are so good for the body. So it can be trial and error for some women. You may find that certain things work for you that don't work for other people, and vice versa. But this was a sort of general blueprint of the food that I ate. And in terms of when I was eating, I started eating 3 meals a day with 1 snack, usually. I used to skip breakfast, and I used to do the bulletproof coffee. I used to wake up and I put the coffee in the blender with the coconut oil and the butter, the grass-fed butter. I'd blend it up. I'd drink a big thing of coffee at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't eat until 1 p.m. That used to be my schedule. That used to be what I did. And I didn't realize how much stress that added to my body and how much pressure it put on my adrenals. And once I finally started eating breakfast and I finally realized that I don't have to skip these meals all the time in order to balance my hormones and in order to lose weight, I felt so much more calm after eating my breakfast. I don't think people realize that when you get up in the morning, you already have high cortisol naturally. The cortisol is the highest in the morning. That's what it should be anyway. When women get their hormones tested, they'll often get the cortisol tested throughout the day. It's usually through like a saliva kit. You have to spit out saliva in a little test tube a few times throughout the day. And so cortisol should naturally be at the very highest in the morning. So that's your stress hormone. That's why a lot of people feel alert. They feel like they're ready to go. You feel really productive because you have a lot of other hormones too, but a lot of cortisol in the body. So when you deprive yourself of food and then you toss back couple hundred milligrams of caffeine in the morning, you're sending signals to the body that it needs to be even more stressed out. And it depletes the adrenal glands, and it forces the body to pump out all of these stress hormones to help you be alert and go, 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 go. And that's why a lot of people actually like the intermittent fasting where you skip breakfast, because I feel like it makes them more productive. That's because you're just running on adrenaline. And for women, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, for women, that gets old really fast, because the more that you're stressed, the more that you increase your cortisol, the more that you're going to deplete some very important hormones in the body, particularly progesterone, which is very necessary for mood, for sleep, for fertility, for pregnancy. We're going to get into all that a little bit later. But I found that when I started eating breakfast, a high protein breakfast that included both carbs and fats, I felt better. My hormones balanced a lot quicker. I was able to lose this sort of stubborn weight and keep it off sustainably. And there's a lot of research showing the connection between eating a high protein breakfast and weight loss, the kind of weight loss that stays off. I see a lot of women who come to me and they're like, I'm trying so hard to lose weight. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing. I'm eating really healthy and I'm doing intermittent fasting. And I ask them, tell me why. Why are you doing intermittent fasting? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is because I want to lose weight. So we've seen a lot of content online of women saying that, if I fast, I'll lose weight. If I just don't eat as much, I'm going to lose weight, because there's so much stuff online now saying intermittent fasting is like the key to weight loss. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. Of course it can work, but a lot of times we should not be focusing only on the weight loss for a variety of reasons. You can lose the weight fast, but number one, is it going to stay off? And number two, is it going to help you balance your hormones? A lot of times it won't, particularly for women. Don't forget that a lot of the studies that are done on intermittent fasting are done on men. And hello, men and women are very different biologically, physiologically, hormonally, everything. So women are taking all this information that is tested out on men, and then, a year down the road, they're realizing it's not really working for them. So that was a sort of blueprint for me nutritionally. It's very simple. There's really no like secrets and bells and whistles. It's really just prioritizing nutrient dense foods, eating out a lot less. We rarely eat out now. And when I really started to balance my hormones and get my health together, I made it a point to eat out as little as possible, because when you eat out, it's packed with seed oils. It's packed with a lot of artificial ingredients and preservatives and flavor enhancers and things that are not nutrient dense. They're not going to be giving you the amount of protein that you need in most places where you go out to eat. And so you're overeating in calories, overeating in carbs and fats. You're not getting enough protein and it's not nutrient dense, and you're spending extra money. When you start cooking at home, you're going to feel a difference very quickly. And so I really prioritize cooking. I love to cook now. We cook pretty much all of our meals. I think maybe we eat out once a month. We'll do like takeout once a month if we need to. So there's really nothing fancy when it comes to nutrition. You just really have to, sorry to say, you have to work hard at learning how to make your own food and avoiding eating out as much as possible. Now, for movement and exercise, when I was trying to heal my hormones and come off of hormonal birth control, one of the things I realized is that all of the high intensity exercising that many women do in the fitness world, and that was me. I used to love high intensity stuff. There was a whole phase where I did CrossFit really religiously. And then even after that, I would be in the gym 6 days a week, sometimes for extended periods of time, days in a row. I noticed that when I stopped doing the high intensity workouts all the time, And I instead learned how to sync my workouts with the hormonal fluctuations that are natural in my menstrual cycle. And I learned to identify which types of exercises and which types of workouts were going to be best for me in certain stages of my menstrual cycle. That was when I really started to feel my best, and I felt like I had the best figure in my life. I'm 8 months pregnant now, so that's gone temporarily. That's temporarily gone. But I am looking forward to having this baby and then getting back to my fitness routine, because I might even do a whole episode on this, but I am not someone who particularly enjoys pregnancy. I'm so grateful to be pregnant. I love what comes from the pregnancy. Of course, you love your kids, but I'm not someone who enjoys, there's some women who love being pregnant, and I think you women are amazing. More power to you. I'm just not one of those women who's like, I'm not a particularly cute pregnant person. I don't enjoy it. I miss my fitness routine. So we will get back. But my point is reducing the amount of high intensity stuff that I was doing and using the high intensity workouts strategically instead of constantly thinking that it would help me lose weight faster. That is the thing that really helped balance my hormones even more. Women don't realize that overdoing it is just as bad for your hormones as almost like not doing anything at all. You really have to find a good balance to support your hormones rather than to deplete them and make them go out of whack. So even more than just thinking about exercising, one of the things I really focused on was avoiding a sedentary lifestyle. And that's done by simply reaching 10,000 steps a day, 8 to 10,000 steps a day. And sometimes this is when I work with a lot of my weight loss clients, I tell them that this is almost more important than working out 5-6 days a week. Because you can work out 6 days a week and you can still be lazy and sedentary. You can just sit for the rest of the day, have no movement. Yeah, okay, you go to the gym for an hour, but then you spend literally the rest of your day on your butt, sitting. That's not healthy. That's not good for your hormones. That's not good for your metabolic health. So what I focus on a lot, and this is like probably the number one thing I focus on with my clients when it comes to fitness and movement, is aiming for 8 to 10,000 steps a day. A lot of walking, a lot of movement. Get up, park your car farther away from wherever you're going. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Just walk. Do things. Be active with your children. Move around the house. Cook more at home. You can generate a lot of steps by just doing daily things around the home and things with your family. It's not just about, I have to go for a walk and get my 10,000 steps. That's definitely a part of it. But I have had many days, even just in the last week, I've had many days where I reached 10,000 steps or more. And that doesn't involve going for a walk outside, because I'm just very, very active, and that's really the most important thing, is staying really active so that you're not sedentary. So that's the diet and exercise component. Now let's go to the lifestyle changes that I made. A lot of these lifestyle changes are often overlooked. Number one is stress. Stress is such a killer for the hormones, ladies. I can't explain to you how much stress can cause a hormonal imbalance, and it's something that is significantly overlooked. I don't know if I think I've talked about this before on my show, but there is a very interesting connection between your progesterone and your stress. So the stress hormone cortisol is derived from progesterone in women's bodies. And the more that you're stressed out, the more that your body needs to pump out cortisol, the more your progesterone is depleted. And there is no equivalent in this in men. In men, their cortisol doesn't come from their testosterone. So stress can have a much bigger impact on women's hormones and their fertility and their menstrual cycle. And it's not really the same in men. You're not going to see men that have that struggle with infertility because of stress in the same way. So if you want healthy hormones, ladies, you must reduce emotional stress. And this is sort of like, duh, I've heard that before. You may have heard it before, but very few women actually do this. Largely because we live in a society that's very boss girl oriented, go, work, climb that corporate ladder. This is one of the reasons why I eventually quit my corporate job, because I didn't want the 9 to 5 stress anymore. getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the gym and do all the things before work, and then getting into the office at 8:30 and working all day, and then maybe trying to go for a walk in the afternoon, and then you got to do happy hour, and then, maybe like the last meetings, and then you go home, and then you got to cook, and you got to do all the things. And it's all of that stress will deplete your progesterone. And progesterone, like I said earlier, is the key mood and sleep stabilizer. And if you're constantly depleting progesterone in the body, it's going to make it really difficult to sleep well, to rest. It's also going to make it difficult to have a regular menstrual cycle. It significantly affects fertility and pregnancy maintenance. One of the first things they look at for women who have recurring miscarriages is low progesterone. And so a lot of women who struggle with miscarriages, when they get pregnant, they're put on bioidentical progesterone pretty early on, like as soon as possible in the pregnancy, in order to maintain the pregnancy. And then after a certain point, the placenta takes over the production of the progesterone. I think it's about second trimester, 14, 15 weeks. And then usually that's when they stop taking the bioidentical progesterone. But the point is that you cannot be constantly stressed out and have balanced hormones. So you could be doing all the exercises, eating all the good food, cooking at home. You could be doing 10,000 steps a day, doing all the right things. But if you are emotionally stressed out and you've got high cortisol and you're depleting your progesterone all the time, you will not have healthy hormones. And this is often the hardest thing to address with women's health, is reducing the stress, because stress comes from all different angles. It comes, of course, from home life, family. If you're a mom, there's a lot of stress that comes with kids. And if you're also working and trying to be a mom at the same time, lots and lots of stress. So I fixed that, like I said, by quitting my corporate job, by slowing down, which was not easy for me because I'm a very type A person who's like a go-getter, very driven. It was tough. It was not easy for me to slow down. But once I finally learned how to, it made a really big difference with my hormones. Sleep is the second one. Women think they're getting good sleep. Oh, I was in bed from midnight to 8 a.m. this morning. Do you think you got good sleep? There's a lot of different components that happen that need to go into good sleep. And there's a lot of things to consider. For example, even the phases of sleep. I might even do a whole episode on sleep. You've got deep sleep, you got light sleep, and you got REM sleep. Light sleep is just kind of the connector between deep sleep, awake, and REM sleep, all of them. Deep sleep generally happens in the first half of the night, and it's when your brain waves are the slowest. And it's when it's the hardest to wake you up, and hence the nickname deep sleep. Deep sleep is actually technically called non-REM sleep, NREM sleep. REM sleep, as you know, is rapid eye movement sleep. That's when you're dreaming. It happens in the second half of the night. That's very important for cleansing your brain, for retaining memory. But the deep sleep that happens in the first few hours of the night is really important for rest, for restoration, for muscle building, for hormones. So a lot of that hormone building sleep that we need happens just in the first couple of hours of the night. Like, it's important for women to be in bed before 10 o'clock. And there is the more that I'm reading about sleep and learning about sleep, the more that I'm realizing that, you know what, I think women just need more sleep than men do, which is kind of ironic because when we have young children, of course, it's going to be a period of time where we're not going to be able to sleep normally. And that's okay. That's temporary. If you have young children like I do, another baby's coming, I'm not going to be sleeping for a long time. It's temporary. I don't want you to stress about the sleep. It is temporary. Once you get to a point where your kids start to sleep a little bit more, you will get better sleep. But I changed my nightly habits a lot to make sure I was getting better sleep. I stopped working out in the evening. I made sure I finished all of my meals at least 3 or 4 hours before bed. I fixed the sleep hygiene. I got blackout curtains. I got an eye mask. I got mouth tape. Mouth tape, guys, is the biggest, best sleep hack ever. If you do not tape your mouth to go to sleep, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Even moms who have newborns, even you have infants, like I remember with my daughter, with my first, when I first had her, I would still put the mouth tape on at night, even if I slept an hour and a half. Because when you put the mouth tape on, you breathe exclusively in and out through your nose. And that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. It helps your body relax more. It helps your breath regulate and slow down even more. and it helps your brain waves slow down, which helps you fall into that deep sleep even easier. And so even if you're a new mom and you've got little itty bitty ones and you're not sleeping for more than 2 hours at a time, still put on the mouth tape. You can take it off if you need to. If you need to get up and feed the baby and you just don't want to, you just take it off. And mouth tape is stupid cheap on Amazon. I'm not even like affiliated with a brand. I just get the cheap one. It looks like the shape of an X and it just goes over my mouth. Maybe I'll bring a little piece of mouth tape to my next episode and show it. But yeah, I put mouth tape on every night, and I started doing that years ago, and I'm never going back again. And sometimes things like a sound machine can help. And it's really important to have a bed and a mattress and a pillow that you love and that's very comfortable. 100% cotton sheets. The temperature is also important. You want a cool room because the body's core temperature needs to cool down a little bit in order to reach that nice rest and deep sleep. There's a lot of things you can work on when it comes to sleep. And for me, one of the biggest ones also was taking magnesium nightly. I take magnesium every night. I'll put the link of the magnesium I take in the description. And of course, turning off electronics at least 30 minutes before bed. I'm not great about that these days because I got to get so much done after my daughter goes to sleep now. But as much as possible, reducing that blue light that is super stimulating from your phone, your laptop, your TV, whatever it is. And just really trying to reach a relaxation before you go to bed. And that can be achieved through prayer, breath work, meditation, just slowing down, sometimes just turning off all the overhead lights in your house and only using red lamps. That's a really big one. Like we have this red light lamp in our bedroom. When it's nighttime, that's the only lamp we use. I don't like the overhead stuff because it's more stimulating. Another big lifestyle change, number 3, is outdoor sunshine. Direct sunlight. I tried to get 60 to 90 minutes of outdoor time a day, depending on the weather, but direct sunlight is incredibly important for hormones. And it's of course important for your sleep-wake cycle and your circadian rhythm, but there's something really unique about early morning sun that's great for boosting serotonin and even testosterone, which yes, is important in women. And it suppresses melatonin in the morning, which gives your body the signal to be alert, to be awake, and to be ready for the day. So getting early morning sunshine was a really big thing for me, even if it's getting outside in the early morning for 10 minutes, sometimes eating breakfast outside, just getting some direct sunlight in the morning. And then the late afternoon is also really important too, around 3 to 4 p.m. That's when your blood sugar naturally drops in the afternoon. A lot of people will go for another coffee or some sort of sugary snack because they feel themselves crashing a little. That's a good time to go outside. Get about 10 to 15 minutes of direct sunlight that also signals to your body that it's time to start slowing down because the sunset is coming in soon. The light, what the sun tells us is the biggest indicator for our sleep-wake cycle. And so your eyes absorb what's going on and send signals to your body to tell you how alert you should be or how sleepy you should be. So when I started getting more outdoor time and direct sunlight, made a big difference with my hormones. So when I hear women, they're like, yeah, but I eat well and I exercise often and I still can't lose weight and my hormones are awful. Okay, do you go outside? What's your sleep like? Are you stressed? Also, what's your emotional and spiritual well-being? This is number 4. Spiritual well-being is a really big component of hormonal health. I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people, but when I started prioritizing my faith, prioritizing prayer and church life and family life and a sense of community, that is often the biggest lifestyle factor that makes a huge impact on your health, your hormones, your weight loss. The longest running study ever conducted by Harvard, which has been almost going for 90 years now, found that the number 1 predictor of health and longevity was not about diet or exercise. It was warm relationships. And the hypothesis is that having warm relationships and having people in your life that you love and you're really connected to, that significantly reduces stress and inflammation in the body. And many chronic diseases and issues come from inflammation. So we see this in research. You can just see it in everyday life. The happiest people are the ones who have loving relationships. So when I really started prioritizing my family and community, sometimes even over than the achievements and the professional success and all of these things that we really are taught to to go for in life. And that's the biggest, most important thing, is being super successful, which is of course important. But I think especially uniquely in the Western puritanical culture, there is this you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work hard no matter what attitude that serves us very well in many cases, but sometimes it can be to our detriment. And I think many times, women especially, we have adopted this sort of puritanical, hardworking mindset no matter what, and they kill themselves and they go hours and hours a day. And then you also pair that with the Western puritanical obsession with the nuclear family, which is very isolating, and the decline of community and the decline of church life in America. And it's a recipe for disaster, because the level of warm relationships and love that people have in their lives is significantly declining. But they're still told to work hard and be successful and do all the things and check off all the boxes. It was a really big component for me to reach hormonal balance and for me to have robust fertility, healthy pregnancies, to focus on the spiritual and emotional well-being of your life. And women should think about this more, because we cannot create healthy, whole women unless we are encouraging them to improve their spiritual and emotional well-being. So prioritize the people that you love, spend time with them. Even if it means you have to, do some things, other things less. Now, I'm going to give you a list of things that I recommend for women who are coming off of birth control today that I did not do myself and that I wish I had done. Now, the first thing that I would recommend is detoxing, because there are all the synthetic hormones in the body that come from hormonal birth control. It can take a while for those things to detox and leave the body. Supporting liver detox, using castor oil packs. This is a really important one that I wish I had done after coming off of hormonal birth control. It's recommended to stay off alcohol for a little while after you're coming off of birth control. Ladies, I know that's not what you want to hear, but you stop taking the pill. Consider supporting your liver by refraining from alcohol for a little while, because it does take a toll on the liver. And these foods help to detox the liver. So eat more of beets, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, broccoli sprouts, kale, dandelion root. All those foods are really helpful to support liver detox. Number 2, replenish the nutrients that you missed from the pill. So there's a huge body of research showing that one of the biggest side effects of taking the pill and hormonal birth control is that it significantly depletes you of important nutrients like magnesium, selenium, zinc, vitamin C, the B vitamins. So when you're coming off the pill, one of the first things you should do is take a good prenatal multivitamin. Does not matter what your pregnancy plans are. If you plan on getting pregnant tomorrow, in 5 years, or never, if you're in your childbearing years, a prenatal vitamin is highly, highly recommended. I'll put the link in the description for the prenatals that I've been taking for 5 years. I wish I had started taking a prenatal vitamin earlier. I should have started taking it 10 years ago. It's good to take that prenatal vitamin because it's going to help replenish all those nutrients that you were depleted of when you were on the pill. Number 3, fix your gut health. My gut health is good now, but I didn't focus on it so much when I was coming off of birth control. The pill, tons of research to show that the pill wrecks your gut lining, and it makes you significantly more likely to suffer from SIBO, inflammatory bowel disease, leaky gut syndrome. So when you're coming off the pill, one of the first things you have to do is support your gut health and restore the gut lining, avoiding inflammatory foods for a good period of time. Taking a good collagen can really help, because collagen helps with restoring the gut lining and preventing leaky gut syndrome. I've got a great collagen. I'll put the link in the description too. I take it every day. Taking prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes. And here are some other nutrients to help heal the gut. Zinc, slippery elm bark, chamomile, citrus pectin, aloe, DGL, L-glutamine. These are all really good nutrients and supplements to help the gut heal. Number 4, test your hormones, ladies. Go get your hormones tested. I would say after you get off the pill, give your body at least 3 full cycles to kind of reset, and then go get your hormones tested. Work with a healthcare professional or a holistic practitioner that can help you figure out what's going on hormonally. Okay, because when you're on birth control, your ovulation is totally suppressed. which means you're not getting the right amount of progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone during the cycles when you're on the pill. So you want to see what's going on with all of these hormones after you get off the pill. You can test these hormones. There are lots of other hormones you can test. Like I said earlier, you can test your cortisol levels. Sometimes women struggle with cortisol being all over the place after coming off the pill. Because all of our hormones work together, it's important to consider them together and take a comprehensive approach to healing yourself from the pill and restoring that balance of hormones. And finally, find a healthcare provider who actually listens to you. This is a really important piece for women who are getting off the pill and who are trying to heal their hormones and heal their menstrual cycle. Always go with a healthcare provider that is not going to gaslight you, a provider who listens to you, who hears your questions. And remember, ladies, you have every right to fire your doctor if that doctor is not listening to your concerns and if they're just brushing you off and making you sound like you're paranoid and hysterical or whatever. You have every right to fire them and to hire someone who listens to your concerns. I know a lot of women who struggle with this for some reason. I think it's hard for them to feel like they have authority to fire their doctor. You do have the authority. If your doctor is not giving you the care that feels right to you, get rid of them and find someone who actually listens to you. So that's my list of things I wish I had done. Now, what I want to know from any of you ladies out there who have come off of birth control, or if you're a guy who's stuck around and listened, if you're your wife or your girlfriend, or if you have a sister who has come off of birth control or who has healed their cycle naturally, I want to hear from you ladies. Tell me, what did you do that helped? What were some of the things that really helped you heal your painful periods or helped you achieve hormonal balance after taking the pill? Because I want to gather as much useful information as I can to give it away to other women, because we do not have to put up with synthetic hormones anymore. There are a lot of ways to heal. And for those of you who are struggling with PCOS or endometriosis and you feel like it's the only option, I have a really great interview with a holistic, independent OBGYN in my women's group called The Shift. And she talked a lot about how PCOS and endometriosis does not automatically mean that you have to take the pill. There are other options out there to help manage pain, manage symptoms, and to get to the root cause. Because taking the birth control pill does not get to the root cause of your menstrual issues and gynecological issues. It doesn't. All it does is suppress the symptoms for a little bit, and it lines the pockets of doctors and big pharma, but it doesn't actually help you heal whatever issues are happening in your body. So if you want to hear that interview with Dr. Poppy Daniels, you can go to the link in the description and join The Shift, my women's health group. We are actually closing enrollment soon in the next couple of days. I only open enrollment once a month to make sure that I can get all the women inside onboarded. And then I introduce myself and make sure you guys are all set. And we just started an April spring bingo challenge. So you have the rest of the month to join. You don't have to have started yesterday with us. There's a huge bingo card for everyone to work on. We're going to be working on things like daily steps, tracking macros, exercising regularly. We're going to be working on some lifestyle and mindset habits. And the winner gets a great prize. We're going to announce the prize soon. And we have tons of webinars and live streams and interviews with different experts in the group as well about fertility and hormones. So join The Shift if you're a woman. Ladies only. Sorry, guys. If you're a guy listening, you can recommend the group, because there's a lot of guys who listen, I know, have recommended it to their girlfriend or wife or whatever. And that's the link in the description. Okay, guys, let me know what you want to hear for the next few episodes. If there's any topic in particular you want me to cover. Don't forget, I always forget to ask you to subscribe to my channel, share it if you can. Don't forget to turn your notifications on so you know when I'm posting a new video. And until next time, thanks everybody. Bye.